Hello again. So those of you who follow me, and follow me closely, you're already aware that I spent 2 hours earlier, which was roughly, an hour and a half ago, making a stream, which I did delete, because some of the subject matter that I touched on just wasn't going to fly. I've started making Rumble exclusives, and the minute I can live stream on Rumble, the gloves will come off. I will say exactly what I want on that platform. That means that if I want to use a racist term, I will. If I want to make a racist joke, I will. If I want to state very clearly my opinion on a particular political matter, oh, I definitely will. But today's topic, and I will be adding a funky thumbnail that I just made. It's just a photo I just took a little while ago. But the thumbnail, and those of you who are seeing this later will already have seen it, it's just a photo that I happened to be in the right place at the right time to make. I had a little visitor in my shed, I assume overnight, because I came out here when it was still nighttime. Did not have that door open, only 2 windows, and how that little guy got in here is beyond me, though I suspect he may have come through the crack in the floorboards. This is, after all, simply a storage shed. And it's sitting on land that's probably shifted, and the foundation itself is probably shifted beyond that. But the little visitor that I had, and I'll keep the mystery for the moment, happened to be battering himself against a window, and I thought, I should find a way to get you out. So I opened the big door and carefully got him into my hands. And when I got to the door, I opened my hand expecting him to fly off. He didn't. No, it wasn't a spider, because spiders don't fly. They do a weird parachuting sort of thing with their silk, which is really weird when you have a parachute that grows out of your butt. But I walked to the door, opened my hand, assuming he'll just fly away. But he decided to linger. I guess he probably enjoyed the body heat or smell of my sweat. It's very humid here because it's hurricane season in the Caribbean, and that means we always get extremely warm winds. Right now, you can probably hear the wind, potentially not over my neighbor's lawnmower. Different neighbor, I hope. But, yeah, excuse me. And I did just have another coffee. But anyway, the whole point of this video is making new friends. And this is not a skill that I particularly have an issue with. I am very easy to make friends with, and I find it very easy to make friends. That said, and I'll reference Conscious Caracol here a little bit, as he pointed out, just talking to someone on a stream does not make you their friend. Now, that's not to say that I don't view some of my stream associates as friends. Considering Bleach, for example, me and him worked together on Sultans of Shadilay, and on we've also done streams together as well on his channel. Haven't done it on my channel because, well, I'm a boomer and not really interested in hosting streams that much. I would like to do some more interviews, as I did with my buddy Cass a few months ago, but such is what it is. Let's see, what else? Yeah, I mean, making new friends, it's not easy, no matter who you are, what age you are, where you're from, any of it. Um, and it's one of those things that's far easier to do in person. Now, everyone who I speak with on my streams, I'm very friendly with them. I wouldn't say I was necessarily friends with all of them, though I may refer to you as friend or my friend. And that's because not only do I not have a negative feeling towards you, I generally have a positive feeling towards you. I do find that a lot of people who describe each other as friends who have only associated with each other online don't seem to really understand what it means to be someone's friend. To be someone's friend requires a certain degree of commitment. If your friend is in trouble, you are obligated to do what you can to help your friends. These are part of the group that you would call your people. Whether there's a racial, cultural, social connection to them or not, they become de facto part of the group you refer to as my people. And there's a very classic chart, circles, concentric circles, showing levels of friendship, levels of intimacy. Ideally, your innermost circle would be you and your partner, just two people in that circle, and then your children. Beyond that, then there's your extended family. Beyond that, ideally, in your extended family circle, you will also have friends. Because if you're close to friends, they become de facto family. It is very humid, and this was a bad choice of garment. This is one of my favorite hoodies, though. And then, beyond the extended family, you have distant family, which is people who are your family, who you have friendly relationships with, but are not necessarily your friends. And then beyond that, you have the wider society, acquaintances, work colleagues, things like that. Now, I did refer to Bleach as a work colleague earlier. However, Bleach and I have interactions outside of simply work, and Bleach, I do apologize for using you as an example, but I think it's pretty convenient more than anything else. But as I said, making new friends is extremely difficult, or can be for some people. I don't generally have that issue. Generally, the way I do it is when we introduce ourselves to each other and have more than one or two interactions, as far as I'm concerned, we are friends. We might not be close friends, but we are friends. And one of the things that I've always been good at is being a listener, trying to help people solve their problems. Part of the reason I do this is to share my hard-earned wisdom, and basically try to help people avoid making the same mistakes I've made. And I am acutely aware that advice that comes from family is a lot easier to dismiss in a lot of cases, especially if you don't have a great relationship with your family. Whereas with your friends, if your friends give you a piece of advice, they're not necessarily preaching at you. They're offering you encouragement and benefit of their wisdom. And generally, your friends want you to succeed. And we should always want our people, whoever they are, to succeed. And whoever you put in that circle of my people, you should absolutely obligate yourself to view their success as something that benefits you. and your success as something that benefits them. The expression goes, a rising tide raises all ships. This is true. But the tides don't rise the same rate everywhere all the time. Same idea. You don't have to elevate everybody. You do have the right to an in-group preference. That said, you should not actively seek to diminish the success of people in the out-group unless they are actively attempting to suppress your success. And this is where one of the issues I have with the cultural Marxists comes in. And I'm using cultural Marxists, even though it's a bit of an outdated term now, because it's simple shorthand. But with the cultural Marxists, they fall into the zero-sum fallacy. They believe there's only so much success to go around, and in order for Jimmy to be successful, Jerry has to suffer. Bullshit. That rising tide lifts all ships, remember. So if Jimmy is doing well, and Jimmy lives in the same town as Jerry, then the better Jimmy does for that town does better things for Jerry. And vice versa. If Jerry does well, they live in the same town as Jimmy, it actually helps Jimmy. You can take some of the warmth out of this by saying business A and business B operate in the same town. If business A succeeds and business B succeeds, even if they're competitors, it's better for the town. If business B goes around cutting the nuts out of business A, or cutting business A off at the knees, to use an Americanism as opposed to a Newfoundlanderism. But if business A goes around cutting the legs out from under business B, then that's bad for the town. Because it's bad for Jimmy and it's bad for Jerry. Because Jimmy might shut down, which means Jerry is, hey, look at that, I'm the only game in town. Problem with that is, if Jerry's an asshole about it, the town's going to go elsewhere to find what they need. For example, if business A and business B coexist in the town and they sell the same products, but business A, for whatever reason, massive franchise, sorry, something in my throat, Walmart. If business A starts undercutting business B, and business B ends up going out of business, and then business A raises their prices, business A is a dirty bitch. It's similar with trades. If I'm setting up myself to do woodworking, and there's a guy across the road who does exactly the same stuff, and I'm doing my work at, say, and this is very random, say I'm doing a $5 an hour rate, and Billy across the road is doing a $5 an hour rate, then we're at an equilibrium, we're both working. If the town can support it, aces, we're all good. If, however, Billy across the road, or me, decides, I don't like Billy being there, I want to put Billy out of business, and I start lowering my prices to force Billy to lower his prices, then one of two things is going to happen. Either, and we'll assume equally established businesses for this, okay? But if I start undercutting Billy, and I start getting more and more and more work, and Billy gets less and less and less because he can't afford to lower his prices, and it may be that I can't afford to lower mine, but I'm lowering mine to put Billy out of business, and then the minute Billy goes out of business, I raise my prices not only back to where they were, that $5 an hour rate, maybe I go to 7, or 8, or 10. Maybe I double my price, because I have no competition. Then who's the asshole? Well, that's technically good business practice, because it does create more success for my business. Problem is that now I'm trying to charge $10, where between Billy and I'm only one person with essentially 2 people's workload. Whereas Billy and I were capable of doing 2 people's workload for the same price. But now I've cut Billy out. well, word gets around. And word of mouth still matters. So word gets around that I fucked Billy over. Why would I deal with someone who fucks other people over? Now, granted, I might be the only game in town. But my business is still going to suffer, even with that higher rate. Because now, people are going to be less interested in doing business with me based on reputation. Word of mouth matters. And it's very similar with making friends. If you want to make friends, you will find that you make one friend, and then you make more. For example, the Sultans of Shadilay. They brought me on. Aces, love it. Thank you very much, Bezic. I very much appreciate it. I love being part of the crew, and hopefully one of these days we can all get together and have a beer, or coffee, or something. But through them, I made friends with Bezic, Bleach, Trim, Disco, Based Ape, and then it spread from there. But it's that first person, it's that first connection that was made where everything blossoms from. And the way I am, I do my damnedest not to be an asshole. Yeah, I can come off as an asshole. But if you speak to me in person, and I'm fairly genuine on camera as well, you find that sincere people generally give you the feeling that you can trust them. And if you're just going out to increase your friend pool, why? I don't see the advantage in that. Now, perhaps that's probably why I'm not a good politician. I would be an absolutely terrible politician, I'll be honest. And it's not because I'm not good with people. It's because I'm very blunt, very straightforward, and have a strong tendency to go, no, show me the proof. Whereas a lot of politicians seem to rely on experts and expert advice. Or they rely on experts that give them the answer they want. Not really looking at the advisory board for COVID lockdown, I swear. Anyway, I'm going to end that there. So, go out, make new friends if you can. Make a new friend. And you don't have to go out purposefully looking to make friends. Just go and talk to people. Go and say hello to someone. If you've got someone in your neighborhood that you haven't spoken to, or that you haven't spoken to in a while, especially if you haven't spoken to them in a while, go say hello. If you happen to see them in the street, talk to them. Pass a bit of time. And you'll be surprised how easy it is to become comfortable talking to people. Now, granted, I know there are such things as social anxiety and autism and things like that make it very difficult to get close to people, that make it difficult to even approach the concept of saying hello to someone randomly. That's a cultural thing here in Newfoundland. It's very unusual for a Newfoundlander not to be the friendliest person in the room. Right? And many people are much the same. I don't really believe there's that much difference in anyone from the Western societies. I think, by and large, people want to connect to each other. Whether they know it or believe it about themselves or not, people need that connection between each other. That connection between people keeps us alive. Might be a reason why there's so much societal decay when we're so separated from each other. I mentioned on my stream earlier that green is my favorite color, and I figure that green is most people's favorite color. It seems to be the highest favorite color, or the most common favorite color, because humans are programmed to appreciate, the color green, because that's where we want to live. We want to live in green places, which I thought was kind of funny when you realize that with the urbanization of our populations, so many people are living now in gray spaces. But even the gray spaces are being greened. Well, is it being greened because of environmental purposes? Or is it being greened because people just like green? Anyway, I'll end that there. So I hope you're having a good day. I hope you continue to have good days and rise again until lambs become lions. Bye-bye.